much. My name is Joe, and I'm currently a CEO of Advanced Security Technology and Research Laboratory in Hong Kong. This company is a spin-off company from a government research institute which focuses on FinTech as well as information security. And I'm also a vice chairman of the program and research in the Cloud Security Alliance in Hong Kong chapter. And I'm also an adjunct professor in the Hong Kong Polytechnic University in the area of information security. So today my topic is cybersecurity fortification for e-government, big data, and FinTech. Cybersecurity is a very boring topic to talk about, unfortunately. Today I'm going to present you a very boring topic because when people talk about cybersecurity, they pay for nothing. They invest money into a cybersecurity system and different kinds of people, but they only get nothing to see. They don't have new features. They don't have efficiency improvement. But this topic is very important to the success of any kind of electronic means of like data processing, e-government, big data, FinTech, e-banking, for example. So regarding cybersecurity in the area of big data, to discuss about how to protect against a system like this kind, we need to see what kind of data is involved, what kind of risk is involved in this kind of system. So let's have an overview on this area. In general, in a big data system, the data collected in the government e-government system, we have these kind of types: tax information, medical records, traffic information, for example, company registration information, like who are the shareholders of a company, who are the board directors of certain company and their contacts. And there are also electronic, like a voting system. If e-government are involved in e-voting, then you have the voters' information on this system as well. You have all the voters' phone number, for example, where their addresses is, and what kind of address change or the sector change they have in the past. And this system also contains social welfare information, like if you are getting social benefit from the government, or you are getting some kind of subsidiaries, subsidized from the government. So these are the typical example of data we collect in an e-government system. And in any kind of this kind of internet connected system, there are many types of attack surface. We divide this attack surface into external and internal. For external, you basically, in many kinds of e-government system, you have a web portal, for example, to log in, such that some kind of web application, you have some form to fill. That is what hackers are looking for. Like they have forms to fill, so you can type in something in the web application. That hackers like to make use of those boxes to fill in something that interesting. And there are also booking system on the government system. So hackers would like to try to see if they can abuse such a system. For example, they make a lot of different kinds of booking on the system using machine, and these are very typical example. And there are also URL, and this one is particularly we see a lot of cases using the URL as well as some security token concatenated in this URL for some secure works. But in the URL, there contains something called a random generator string, so that it claims to be secure. Unfortunately, many systems are taking log of this kind of URL. In the log analysis, of such a system that the information is used for mainly for IP audit purposes. But unfortunately, this kind of logs can also bring vulnerability to a system. And there are also some kind of infrastructure-based attack. For example, the routers are gateway. It is very hard to see if a gateway or hardware piece of devices are safe. And I will get back to this point a little later in my presentation. And also smart cards attack are very interesting to look into smart cards, to clone smart cards of different types. And there are also internal attacks. For example, like storage device internally contain different kind of confidential information. Like typical example is a USB that contains sensitive information, or as a media of transmission of malware. And also employees themselves with another internal attack service. For example, their mobile phone, they use their mobile phone at work. And there's a chance of them losing the mobile phone or install some kind of malicious application. For example, they watch illegal television program using the mobile phone at home while they use the same phone at work. And also, some of the employees in the government make use of their home PC to do some of the work at the government. So these are also internal attacks. And there's also something called social engineering that maybe the employees talk about the system while they are having their lunch or in other social occasions. And of course, malware is a very serious stuff with attack surface. And there's also advanced persistent attacks. There are many types of risk in the e-government system. We need to learn about the risk before we can make a good judgment of how to protect such a system. First of all, this is arranged in the order of seriousness. So privacy leakage is perhaps the least damage to many people. Some of the citizens think about, oh, my privacy is leaked, so what? I don't care. My social ID number is on the web. I don't care. Some people don't care. It's not very serious enough, but to some people they are not very happy about that. And there are also non-monetary damage, such as reputation. For example, if a certain department's information are leaked, so you have problem with the reputation. It is not nothing monetary or disastrous, but it is not very good in some sense. It creates fears to some people. And in some more serious cases, there are financial impact. Just like recently, there's a Bangladesh bank attack. I will talk about that particular case a little later today. It's a very big financial impact. And more seriously, it might bring political issues to the government as well. If you think about these kind of problems more in depth, there is also a possibility to physical security of citizens. For example, if you make use of a e-government system to raise certain complaint to somebody and it was leaked this information, so the citizen's identity has been leaked who complain about certain things, so may cause physical security of citizens. This is perhaps the most serious one here. But there is one more serious problem. Anyone can give some ideas? Like, do you have any ideas what is more serious than all of this? Anyone? Sorry? Copyright? No, it's not very serious. It's just less than something like in the middle. It's just like financial impact. Right? Anyone? It's terrorism. Actually, the cyber attacks to an e-government can bring you terrorism. Why? Let's see one typical example. This is Jeep Cherokee. This is a car recently appears in Hong Kong. This is an American brand, not very popular in Hong Kong. And this is nothing to do with Tesla. It's nothing to do with electric car. It's not auto drive. there's no auto drive, no autopilot, nothing. It's just ordinary car. It just looks nice, but it is just ordinary car. Some say car like this is nothing to do with cyber attacks because it's not auto drive. Okay, what you can do is just you can drive the car yourself manually, just like all other gasoline cars, and it provides you with internet access so that if you drive this car, you can browse the internet. For example, you can see YouTube through the system, through the audio system of this car. So it basically makes use of the 4G network, and then it provides a Wi-Fi hotspot to your car. That's all. However, in the last year, in the Black Hat conference, I also attended this Black Hat conference last year, and this is Charlie Miller and Chris, are two hackers investigating into this particular car. This particular model is not an auto drive car, so it shouldn't be able to drive themselves. So even if there are some attacks, it seems doesn't matter. But let's have a look on how the hackers can do with this car. As you can see from the video, the hackers can remotely control this car. They can accelerate, turn the steering wheel left or right. They can do braking. Sorry, I don't have the voice there because I just took the video in the bank to share with you. As you can see, the car can be braked. Okay, brake, accelerate, steering, all can be controlled externally. Why? Some say this car, actually from the original manufacturer, this car don't have any auto drive function. It don't build in any function. But there's an audio system connected to the car. And there's also something called V850. You can think of it some interface to the engine, through the canvas, so that the car can display the status, the audio system can display the status of the car, like for example, like whether the tires are inflated, whether the driving condition of the engine, all those kind of status. Hackers try to do a firmware update to this V850, and through update, they write new software for this, and they write new function for this car, so that they can do remote control. And hackers in the United States find more than 300,000 of the same model on the internet. So there are 300,000 of these cars available in the United States, driving every day in the road. You can imagine, like hackers one day they just accelerate all of these cars, put to the maximum acceleration. What can that be? That is basically one typical example of terrorism. Let's talk about how to do protection. There are many different ways, and if you look into a cybersecurity textbook, they are more or less the same. Okay, for the data, you need to do encryption. For the encryption, there are many kinds of encryption, like when the data remain in your system statically, you need to do encryption. While they are transferred, you need to do another kind of encryption. There are many ways to do that. And you need to impose access control. Access control means to limit the ways to access the data. You should do like basic network and system security. Perhaps you can impose multi-factor authentication, like instead of only password, you also have other factors like mobile phone verification or hardware token for some stage. You can also improve the policies. And these are all done in the design phase of such a system. So when you design a system, you design all of this bear in mind and while you develop the system. While there are also some other things to do during operational stage, you can audit the companies that will handle the data, because in a big data system, probably the government will not be the only parties to handle the data. Perhaps you need to depend on other companies that do some kind of data processing or data storage, data archival, many different kinds of things to do. So perhaps you can audit the companies. And you can also impose a monitoring of such a system. For example, you install some kind of monitoring system. There are many such kind of products available on the market. And they do pretty well on monitoring and give the audit reports on that. You need to also do like vulnerability management, like to give a timely update to certain operating system. When a new vulnerability was discovered, we need to patch that as soon as possible and keep those updates as a common practice and incorporate that into the operational procedures. Of course, there are also like different kinds of governance, risk management, compliance in the high level point of view or more like a bird's eye view on the whole project. However, all of these are well written, and many people also know about this in most security textbooks also mentioned more or less the same thing. But the challenge is how to do that correctly. Just take an encryption as an example. How to do encryption correctly is a very serious topic actually. There are many different kinds of encryption. Even the AES encryption now we are using as a standard. The AES 256, for example, is an industrial standard. But how to implement it? There are many modes like EBC, CBC mode. There are many different kinds of modes and many different kinds of ways to do encryption. And also what kind of library you use to build that system is also very tricky. And the encryption library is also very difficult to investigate into in depth because basically most of the developers do not have the knowledge about encryption themselves, so they trust certain providers of that kind of software engines. To do it correctly, we need standards and transparency, and I will talk about this a little later. And secondly is perhaps the most challenging part is that we need talent with broad knowledge. To protect certain systems, you need to know everything. Basically, in my laboratory, when we hire security analysts, we basically require them to have all kinds of knowledge. These are some typical examples: network, operating system, mobile operating system, web application, database. Need to know all of that, but the one in the gray color is relatively easy. You can easily find a database experience technician available on the market. It's easy. However, the one in blue color is kind of difficult. Like for example, like cryptographers, you need someone to really understand cryptography. It's kind of difficult. We spend a lot of effort and money into like talent acquisition in this area. We also need someone that understands reverse engineering. So anyone familiar with reverse engineering? Yeah. Like reverse engineering, basically you can think of it as some kind of hacking, but it's ethical hacking. So you do it purposely to help to find out the vulnerability on a certain system without the knowledge of the like for example source code, for example the design architecture. So reverse engineering technique is one of the very important ingredients in cybersecurity. And we also need penetration tester. There are lack of penetration tester in Hong Kong. That's why we, in the later presentation, I will talk about the effort the Hong Kong government is doing, try to bring up more penetration tester. Penetration tester basically do regular hacking to certain government systems and to see if there are new vulnerabilities we need to fix. And also there are lack of governance and compliance professionals. For example, they really understand legally and technical both sides. It's very difficult to find. And in addition to talents, when we have the talents, we need to keep them updated their information. Like they know about what's happening. They're just not using yesterday's knowledge to do the work. They need updated information. So they need updated and reliable information because some of the like a cybersecurity professional we see in Hong Kong also they read like magazines or they read like some blogs about certain cyber attacks, but they don't have the real facts or the technical information, the independent opinion on that kind of area. So we need reliable information, quick. So let's talk about Hong Kong's effort in this to tackle those challenges. Actually, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority take the lead of cyber security in this area in Hong Kong. Because Hong Kong is a finance center, so to protect against cyber attack to finance companies is perhaps a higher priority than all others, because the military part is taken is done by the central government of China. So we don't have a military thing to think about. And the second thing the government need to do is how to protect our banking system, for example, finance system, in order to remain stable and remain good stability. So in this cyber security fortification initiative announced last month in Hong Kong by the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, there are three things we are going to do. First of all is the standard and transparent assessment. We have a new cyber resilience assessment framework that guide the bank and related parties or the government how to correctly do penetration tests, how to do it correctly, what kind of procedure, who are you going to hire, what qualification is necessary. The Hong Kong Monetary Authority provides a very detailed guidance on that. And secondly, we do a special kind of training. We do professional development program because in the past, it basically depends on the finance institute themselves. For example, a bank send their technical staff to some training center to do the training. That is good in some sense, but we need, or obviously we need some more high, or in technical sense, it's a more low level, but it's a more sophisticated training. For example, more hands-on training than just talk on the paper. That kind of training, I'm going to talk about it a little later. And the third one is also a very big one, is the intelligence. How do we collect cybersecurity intelligence for Hong Kong? Because in different kind of industry, there are specifically some kind of attack that is specific to a certain area. For example, there are many attack cases available in the US or in other countries, but that kind of attack maybe not happens in Hong Kong, but there are certain kind of attacks. For example, like phone scam. For example, like different kind of phishing website is specifically targeting Hong Kong and mainland China. So we need our own intelligence sharing system. Okay, for the first point, for the cyber experience assessment framework, it is they call inheritance risk assessment. The risk rating is very simple. It's like high, medium, low. The color is red, amber, and green. So very easy to understand. It is based, the rating itself is well defined in the document. You can find in this link below. I will share this PowerPoint later, so you can find all the detailed document in this PDF here. And it is involved in the technology use. What kind of technology certain government organization or banks they use. And the delivery channel, for example, they deliver the service through internet or through mobile channels or through other kind of channels. Also the organization characteristics, as well as the track record of that particular, for example, a bank. If they have a bad track record, they will have a higher risk model. When we have this inheritance risk assessment, we can compare to something called maturity assessment. So there's a baseline. The monetary authority will compare this baseline with that particular organization so that they need to keep up or they are okay currently. And there's also something called intelligence-led cybersecurity simulation test. So they can do penetration tests from the previous experience of other, for example, other banks or other government departments that happens. We have such kind of sharing channel so that we can, in the next penetration test, we need to include the old findings, for example, the other attacks in other departments. So the communication is very important. And we also develop certification. We develop a certification model with a local security expert as well as some international organization. For example, like the UK CREST system, we are going to introduce the UK system back to Hong Kong in this area. We call the CREST, C-R-E-S-T, CREST system. And we also do this program neutral some new cybersecurity practitioner, $3 billion Hong Kong dollars project building a training center that can do, for example, ORM classes and cyber attack, for example. And this is a diagram of the cyber intelligence sharing platform we are talking about. And as you can see on the left side is Hong Kong Monetary Authority working together with Hong Kong Association of Banks. They support this system, okay? Because for the banks to join this system, we require authority as well as their own association to collaborate together. Otherwise, even as a government research institute, we cannot gain the trust of the banks. So we get their support, and the banks will share the information to this platform, as well as the Hong Kong police will share cybersecurity or their latest finding, their latest warning to this platform. And we also incorporate with other companies. This is just in the plan. These companies are aware with the plan. I just put it here as an example. Companies are welcome to join so they can participate in this platform, provide the banking industry with the latest finding, as well as some hackers channel. We also have a deep connection with like Black Hat and F1, that kind of hackers channel. And also we work with overseas intelligence, such as these examples here. There are certain similar organizations, like in the US they have FSDSIC, in Europe they have ANICAR, and in, for example, Singapore they have IEA doing something similar to us. And what about the cyber intelligence we are talking about here? I would like to give two examples before I end this presentation. For example, this is a Bangladesh bank case in a few months ago. $81 billion has been stolen from this bank by a cyber attack. So this is we got an attack news. We need to answer this question for the banks and for the government department. Whether the same attack happens to our system. This question is particularly difficult to answer. Why? Because when it happens, the next day, the CEO asks this question to the technical people. So how to answer? Because they know nothing about the problem yet. Maybe they just heard of them in the morning. So what they do is that they code to the intelligence system. And as a research team, we collect the sample of the malware. We do reverse engineering to understand the behavior of the malware. And we do the Swift software because we have a copy of this software. We do the software review and have the reverse engineering to understand how this works. And we provide technical analysis, technical report, how this happened, why this happened, what is the technical characteristic this may happen, so that what is the condition that triggered the problem, so that the bank can answer this question, or the government department can answer this question. The second example is that we discover network devices vulnerability. We collect samples of network gateways and those kind of hardware from government departments and banks to understand what kind of hardware they use. And this for this kind of hardware, this is just an example. I'm not telling this are the vulnerable one. Just an illustration. We do reverse engineering of this kind of device because this kind of device, even when the government department purchase this kind of device, they are unable to verify whether they are secure, whether there are some loopholes in there. We have some interesting findings though, and we find that remote access is possible. Some of the models without remote management enabled. It's very scary. So if you install it and the hacker knows the IP address, they can have some way to get into this and take full control.